the demons in the New Testament are part of the historical narrative, and it's a very great mistake to eviscerate the text by getting rid of them. The plain fact is that in Luke 4:41, it's the demons who cried out, using, of course, the vocal cords of their victims, the demonized human beings, but the personality is given there to the demons who cried out and recognized that Jesus was the Messiah. Now, that's not true of mentally unstable people in general. There's a class of personalities here which is supernatural, which is evil, and it isn't human. It's a supernatural quality. It's a supernatural category. It's certainly not God. And the synonym for the demons in the New Testament is, of course, unclean spirits. They have personality. In one passage in Mark 9:20, Mark carefully gives personality to the demon. He says that the demon saw Jesus coming, using a masculine participle there, which disagrees grammatically with the neuter demon, but it gives personality to that demon. The demon saw Jesus coming and threw the child in convulsions. There's no doubt that they're part of the historical narrative. Now, people try to avoid this by saying, well, you can't tell me the origin of the demons. You can't tell me when Satan fell. That's not the point. Can you explain the origin of the Pharisees? Probably not, but you'll grant that they're there. And so this is pure evasion. You see, when one doesn't like a truth, a given truth, when one doesn't want to face the facts of the text and believe it, one asks evasive questions. One asks to have other things explained in the hope of evading the main issue, which is that the demons are there. In James, we find that the demons believe in the one God and tremble. Now, I would ask my friends who don't believe there are demons, or Satan, the Satan, what is the referent for demons here? Is it true that mentally ill people believe in the one God? Obviously not. But the word demon doesn't mean a human being. See, it's a lexical fact. And we're dealing with lexical facts here. Tables are not chairs. Demons are not human beings. Demons are certainly not diseases. They can cause mental disturbance, that's true. But a demon is a perfectly clear category. It's a supernatural minor deity, if you like. It's not God. Obviously, demons are not God in the ultimate sense. Neither are they good angels. They appear to be fallen angels. That's not the point. They are there in the text, and they are part of the great enemy resisting the truth as Jesus preached it. Demonized people are not necessarily possessed. They're not completely taken over. They may be influenced in varying degrees, but they're demon-influenced in varying degrees, some of them wild, out there in the tombs, breaking shackles and so on. Others are polite demons. They're in the synagogue, but they're demonically influenced personalities, human personalities. Now, if you ask about the origin of Satan, people then try to avoid that too. They say, well, what about that serpent in Genesis? Now, one of the most horrifying doctrines out there amongst the Christadelphians is that that serpent, according to their founder, John Thomas, in his book Elpis Israel, he says that the serpent is a non-morally accountable serpent or animal. He says that that serpent lied but didn't intend to lie. I wish Christadelphians would think about that very hard. Then who, may I ask, is responsible, morally responsible for the lie, if not that animal? That would put the lie back onto God. That's a horrifying doctrine. No, the serpent is the code word for the Satan and the devil. And that's plainly stated in Revelation 12, verse 1, where it says that the Satan, not a Satan, the Satan, the diabolos, the devil, is the serpent of ancient days. Just like that fox Herod, it's a code word for the devil. And that devil is there lying. He was a liar and a murderer from the beginning. You eliminate him from the story, and you then put everything into the human breast and make sin and the human impulse to do evil the total story of evil. This is a ghastly caricature of the biblical account. The definite article is most important in Greek and in English. We read of o Theos, the God, in the New Testament. Bishop Wright has most helpfully pointed out. We're not talking about any God, we're talking about the God, the one God of Israel, the God celebrated in the Shema, recited by Jesus. That's not the triune God of later theology. Jesus was not a Trinitarian. He affirmed and endorsed the Unitarian creed of Israel. How much more easy would be the task, how much easier would be the task of evangelism if we were to go to the Jews and the Muslims and say, we believe also in the one God, not a triune God. That puts up an impossible barrier between Christians and Muslims and Jews immediately. But having said that, let's then transfer the article issue to the designation of Satan. He's not a Satan. Now, you can have human Satans. You can be enemies among human beings. They can be Satans to each other, adversaries to each other. But there's all the difference in the world between a Satan and the one and only Satan. And Hasatan, the Satan, introduced in Matthew, in the wilderness story there, is completely clear. It's not an adversary. Some Christadelphians were forced to say this was the high priest tempting Jesus in the wilderness. Now that's really desperate. Much better to accept the plain text, and that is that the Satan came up to Jesus from the outside. This is not thoughts or evil impulses generated within the mind of Jesus, that he was twisting the scriptures and then refuting them and so on. That's completely out of the question. No, the Satan, Hasatanas, the devil, came up to Jesus and spoke to him. Just as angels came up, same language, came up and ministered to Jesus later. There's no question at all about an external, supernatural, evil personality there. And to get rid of that is really producing a caricature of the New Testament doctrine of evil.